Good morning. It's very exciting these days about the truth. The truth is coming out about the corona crisis, the lockdowns, so on. And the globalists are trying to suppress it. Yeah. So this is very good. I will talk about this tomorrow, I think. We are doing the job of mainstream media, and there are certain stories that just needs to be told, because mainstream media, they don't tell them. They lie about them. So we have to tell these stories. Yeah. So I will today talk about two stories from Sweden. The first one happened this week. The Swedish parliament decided to pay the debts for Somalia. That's right. Somalia owed a lot of money to the International Monetary Fund. And a lot of countries were asked to pay this debt, so that Somalia again could borrow money. That's true. And the Swedish parliament said, yeah. All the parties agreed, except one, the Nationalist Party. They said, no, why should we pay this? Why should the Swedish taxpayers pay the debts of Somalia? Doesn't make sense. So, this was confirmed by the parliament. Sweden and Swedish taxpayers will pay the debts for Somalia. That's right. It's approximately $2.1 million. And just to give you an example of this is about the same amount that was saved when the government decided to close down a maternity ward. This is a very famous story here in Sweden. There was a maternity ward in Sollefteå. It's a town way up north. They closed it down to save money. And there's a lot of people who are very angry about this. People living up there, of course. And they did courses. Yeah. Women were taught how to give birth in the car, because they had to drive such long distances in order to give birth. It's true. So about the same amount was saved. All right. The second story is there's the biggest newspaper I think in Sweden is called Dagens Nyheter, Today's News. They did a story the other day about a 25-year-old woman who was abused in her relationship. And they published pictures. She was totally beaten up. That was terrible. And so she was beaten up by her boyfriend, right? But nowhere in this article from this newspaper, this liberal newspaper, there was no mention of this boyfriend. Nothing. Instead, this paper focused on this, general hatred against women, in our society. Yeah, and they clarify that they showed the pictures of this beaten up woman to make it possible to understand the extent and cruelty of violence. Right, so who was this guy? Well, independent media, they found out who this guy was. So here he is. He's a 35-year-old guy. His name is Omar Abum Gaiseb, and he's from Iraq. That's right. He came to Sweden in 2009. And when he came to Sweden, he claimed that he was from Syria. All right. Okay. That's all. Bye.